Hello, I'm Dr. Luneta. I'm the head of Department of Childhood Education at the University of Johannesburg. This course is called Mathematics for Foundation Phase Teachers. And in this particular course, we look at how teachers in foundation phase are supposed to instruct mathematically. In other words, the kinds of mathematics that they ought to possess in order for them to be effective as mathematics teachers at primary school and foundation phase in particular. Now, foundation phase is from grade R to grade 3, which is in some countries called reception age to year 3. Now, the mathematics that we're going to talk about is what it is that my teachers ought to possess in order for them to be effective as teachers of mathematics at foundation phase. Now, the mathematics is broken down into the 5 learning areas of mathematics. And the 5 learning areas of mathematics are basically, as a teacher of mathematics, you ought to know the number systems, you ought to know the number sense, you need to have a grounded idea of what a number sense is, and you need to know shapes, you need to know measurements and data handling. So these are the 5 areas that will be looked into when we're talking about mathematics for foundation phase teachers. And ours, therefore, as teacher trainers is to identify strategies that teachers can use in order for them to be effective at primary school. I'm going, therefore, to start the course by looking at what is it that you ought to do as teachers. So we're looking at, first of all, identifying the number, teaching number. In order to do that, we would like you as teachers, first of all, to understand the history of a number. How did numbers come about? And that's where I'm going to start from. So numbers were not there right from the word go. No. Hundreds of years ago, centuries for that matter, there were no number systems. In other words, we could only count 1 to 2. You look at any book on the origin of numbers, they will tell you we started by just using the body parts. In other words, we're able to count by using our fingers, that is 1 to 5. Then we're able to count 1 to 10, and then using our toes and so on. But let us be more systematic now and look at how did the number system start. Historically, it started as a means to quantify entities. Anything that we had needed to be quantified. In other words, it was a survival means, really. We wanted to see how to survive. In other words, if today you come and I owe you, say, 3 chickens, how are you going to know tomorrow that I owed you 3 chickens? So we needed to find a way of quantifying that. We needed to find a way of putting that in place such that you and I are able to identify that number as the original number that we talked about. So then, at foundation phase, then the basic part that we start by talking about is we begin to introduce teachers to the number system. First of all, we ought to understand that as human beings, we are all born with what is called the number sense. In fact, that includes animals as well. In other words, we are born with we have this innate ability to identify quantity. So number sense really is the ability to identify an increment or a reduction in quantity. So what we mean then, rudimentarily, by number sense, is that if a child had his or her toys in front of him and you took away some, the child would be able to know that there are some toys that are missing. In other words, the child is not going to count the toys and say there are 6 toys missing, but we just know that there has been an increment or a reduction in quantity. And that is the same with animals as well. For instance, a bird that has 2 chicks will not come back with 7 worms. No. It will go and fetch 1 worm if it can only pick 1, and will go back and fetch another worm for 2 chicks. It will not bring more than that. And that is the same with insects and other animals as well. In other words, we are all, as living beings, born with the number sense. Now, within the number sense, then we go beyond that and begin to say that in actual fact, the number sense does develop. And it is the ability then to count, the ability to quantify, the ability to numerate that has made the human species to have a much more advanced number sense than the animal species. So that is basically the starting point and an introduction to number systems and number sense. Now, let us go to the basic definition of number systems. Now, there are different types of number systems. The one that we use in South Africa is called the Hindu-Arabic number system. There are others as well, which are the Mayan number system, the Greek number system, the Chinese number system, the Babylonian number system. All these are different number systems, but what do we mean by a number system? A number system is a way in which we symbolically represent numbers. So a number system is a symbolic representation of number. In other words, in the Hindu-Arabic number system, we represent the number 1 with 1 stroke, which is not the same in the probably in the Babylonian number system. For instance, if you look at the Babylonian number system, this is how it is represented. If you look at the Greek number system, this is how the numbers are represented. If you look at the Mayan number system, this is how the numbers are represented. So, as teachers, therefore, we are not saying you need to go and teach children how to represent numbers in these various number systems. No. All I'm saying is that it is important for you as a teacher to know the different number systems that exist out there. In fact, at one stage, I think, at a primary grade 6, grade 7, you teach them the Roman number systems. How to count in the Roman number systems, how to add, how to convert from the Hindu-Arabic number system to the Roman number systems, and vice versa. But this, at foundation phase, you don't need to know that, to do that. All you need to know is what are the different number systems that exist out there, and what is the meaning of a number system. It's basically a symbolic representation of quantity. So 1 to 10 in the Hindu-Arabic number system is the main frame where all numbers originate. In other words, all numbers are in base 10, from 0 up to 9. And you can think of any number. That's how we represent it. Okay, so then let us wrap up this part of the introduction to the course. This is basically what is done in first year. So the first part, therefore, deals with your understanding of number sense, which is really the ability to see an increment or a reduction in quantity. That is number sense. Then number systems are a symbolic representation of numbers. And also these are represented in what? In different number systems. Like I said, there will be the Mayan, in actual fact, were one of the very first number systems, followed by the Babylonians, then of course the Greek number systems, the Egyptian number system, the Chinese number systems. All these are the different number systems. So that's the part that you ought to know at this stage of this lecture.